99.5 in Central California. Welcome and happy Monday to you. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun today. Why? Why? That's the big question. Well, because a couple of my people are here, and that probably has several meanings to it. But one is, as you know, and I've talked about it fairly often here on the Smart Show, I have a twister. I have a twister.
Yes.
A twin sister. That's right, my twister, who is a lipstick lesbian. Well, more of a chapstick lesbian, really, but somewhere in between.
Splitting the difference.
Splitting the difference, right? Splitting a zygote. Taking a fallopian tube and wringing it out so that two polyzygotal eggs popped out and percolated in my former mother's womb. Anyway, I am here alive and well, as is she. I am also joined by two twins of the identical variety, that meaning that they shared the same bag of jelly for 9 months, but they actually got the same DNA, although their personalities might be mildly different. We're going to get into what does it mean to be a twin, also open up the phones, take your calls. If you're a twin or you've always wanted to know what makes all of us tick, or tick-tock, or tick-tick, as the case might be, you can certainly give us a call at your usual Harrison hotlines at 310-737-TALK, 310-737-TALK. Mercy Malik joining me. Thank you for the excellent, as always, exquisite newscast, bringing us information that wouldn't ordinarily be available to us through normal commercial media outlets. As you notice on our commercial feed here, we're looking at all the different networks. Not one of your stories will be on there in the next 48
No one's talking about the Maldives.
Oh, are they?
No, they're not. No one is. No one at all.
Well, there you go.
That's who. No one. No one cares that the very first democratically elected leader of a nation was ousted at gunpoint. I think that's news, but I might just be crazy.
Well, democracy is only practiced if there are things like platinum, gold, or uranium under the feet, under the soil of that democracy. Otherwise, it's not really a democracy.
Diamonds might fit in there, too.
Diamonds might fit in there, yes.
Anything you can dig for and extract and exploit.
That's right. I mean, really, when you think about this country, it really is all about, in the Occupy movement, all the things going on right now, is you've got a country where you have a warrior class of people, and those would be people of color that live in urban areas, and they go out and kill the other residents of the planet in order to relieve them of the burden of things like their oil and gold that might be under their feet. And in return, we, the citizenry, get things like a 401k or something. We get some kind of miniature social safety net. But now the 1%, as we like to call it, are relieving us of the burden of that little bit of issue of knowing what the fuck's going to happen to you after.
We're online today.
I guess we can. It's going to happen to you. Isn't it exciting and fun?
Oh, hell yeah.
After the age of, say, 80, when you wither and perish with no safety net. But, so that's kind of the arrangement. That's all going away. Countries like Greece that gave us, Plato and his wonderful dialogues, how to pick up a 16-year-old boy on any street corner. Socrates, how to form a decent argument and get away with it, which Newt Gingrich, by the way, is a real master at that. He studied Socrates. He sure did.
Most Republicans are.
Most Republicans are very good at that. So I want to introduce two guys who have done the unimaginable, and I think the impossible, heretofore impossible, which was we take somebody like, and I'm just going to throw out a name like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton, right?
Good choice.
We've all grown up with Dolly Parton. We've heard her music endlessly. She's got some of the finest sacks of adipose tissue that Earth has ever known. Great mammalian madness hurling off her chest. And also her hairdos are exquisite. This woman, you guys, Gary Lane, Larry Lane, two twins, twothers, I suppose that is. Twothers, two twothers, twin brothers, and I have a twister myself. You guys set out to go from Hollywood to Dollywood. Now, this has never been done before. And it was a monumental Sisyphean uphill boulder push because people were like, huh? Or what do you mean you want to do that? But you guys actually achieved this, and your documentary is coming out. And I want to note here, a story on Yahoo News says that Dolly's turning 66.
Yes.
She's slowly teetering into a gentle geezerdom. Right? She's still got about 20 more years.
Down. She's the busiest woman we know.
That's right.
She's busy.
And nor by appearance either.
And the awards and film festivals that you're filmed from Hollywood to Dollywood. I mean, this thing has garnered all kinds of fleur-de-lis and, I mean, all the different wonderful things. So you guys you've taken the elevator from the basement up to lingerie. You're now at mezzanine level with this thing. So I have Gary Lane on my right.
Yes.
And I have Larry Lane on my left.
Yes.
So that would be radio stage right. Okay.
Radio stage right.
So let's hear the difference of your voices. So Larry, let's hear your voice.
I was going to tell you about the weather. It's beautiful, 80 degrees. Everybody can see it.
Here in
Go
Los
ahead, Gary.
Angeles. We're also streaming live video at goharrison.com, goharrison.com, where you can see Larry and Gary. They're double shots because I couldn't find a single shot of you guys anywhere to isolate you.
Oh.
So it's just two tandem shots, but different poses. So Larry is on the left, Gary is on the right, and then I inverted the pictures, so Larry was always on the left, and Gary is always. So L for Larry, R for Gary.
Our mom did that in all of our baby pictures. She always put Larry on the left.
So she could keep us apart because we look so much alike.
Right, because you're identical twins.
That's true, yeah.
Now, I think the first question, before we get into Dolly Parton, so to speak, as a twin, now, my twister, twin sister, a fraternal twin, and in this country, people say, oh, do you look alike? I know. You go to Europe, they get it. Here, you know, remember, the Earth is maybe not warming up, and maybe it's flat, and Jesus, and, you know. So we really have to start at kindergarten level. But as twins, it really is a kind of inseparability. Whether you like it or not, you not only spent 9 months in your mother's womb sharing all the juice and liquids and hormones and all the Disney magic that goes on in there, and then you come out and you have a twin stroller. You can't even take a whiz alone. You bathe together. Not that you asked for it, but this was my situation until I was about 23.
You get your meals together.
Yeah.
You have no control.
Right, and then, you know, then I started bathing her. But that's a different thing altogether. I
That's
stopped.
another show.
That's another show altogether. But there's probably not, well, how do I put it this way? Let's just talk about dating, because I think that's the first thing everyone wants to know. How do you go on a date? As though you have no idea, right?
Well, it used to be a lot more difficult. We would always have issues with the person we were dating where they would always feel left out or feel like I did more with the twin. And now that I've gotten older, I've learned how to balance it and definitely have my time with my partner, Mike. I mean, we've been 5 years now, but it used to affect early on in dating before I knew how to balance it. Because it is hard when you've got the twin and you just have a built-in unit there that other people that don't have a twin,
They don't understand
it.
Yeah. LaneTwins.com is your website, by the way, where we can go and check
That's
you
the
guys
sad
out.
thing is because you never get called by your first name. We're the Lane Twins, so and we even build into it because our Twitter is the Lane Twins. Everything's the Lane Twins, so that's how you find
Well,
us.
you're not victims.
No, you're not victims, but you play into that mentality of being the twins.
He's
Because
definitely not a victim because even in math, all his algebra exams, I went to school as him and passed him for the year. So I took all his
hell
tests
yeah,
in
you
school.
gotta take
So
advantage of
that's
it.
that's the classic Hollywood part, right? Is that we all assume that you guys do the switcheroo, and your partner would know when it's him. When it's
Yes.
your partner Gary would know if Larry popped in to hang out with your partner.
Yeah, but there has been a couple of times where he would come around the corner and almost grab him thinking he was me, and then he'd catch himself. But there's been a couple of points where it's kind of close. 'Cause
And
we
then
do
my
look alike.
boyfriend is in Prague, so he's Czech, so he's finishing school over there. So when he's here, he has a lot more trouble because he doesn't see us as much. So one time we were all having lunch together, and
Yeah.
me and Gary had already sat down, and he came in the living room and sat by him. And I'm like, I'm over
kinda
here. He
grabbed my
sat by the
leg.
wrong one.
So, what does your partner, Gary Lane, say he knows is the difference? I can tell by your speech patterns. I can also tell you have different expressions. You really do. What is it that he declares is the thing that lets him know that you are not Larry?
Because he will always say that Larry is more stressed and more uptight. Larry has more of the...
Because of Gary.
And
That's
I'm,
why
and I'm usually I'm the more relaxed one, so he can always tell when it's me, and so he doesn't have any issues now because it's been 5 years.
My sister, my twister, my twin sister.
Are you the older one?
I am 2 minutes older.
I'm 8 minutes older.
Wow.
Older twins.
Who's your
minutes.
sister?
We
Get,
run
her,
the
get
show.
your sister here.
Yeah, we should call her up. I think I was born first because it was cesarean. Did your mother
No, we
push?
were all the way through. We were right up to term, and we were 8-6 and 8-9.
We were-
We're still the
Wow.
biggest twins in North Carolina, on record.
8-6 and 8-9.
Wow.
We were big.
I was cesarean, so I think they could pull the son out first because my father was a Republican. So I'm 2 minutes her senior. She has a capability of somehow, I wouldn't say mind reading, but she's sensitive as all get out. It's extraordinary. I'll get a call sometimes. All right, what's going on? And I'm in L.A., 3,000 miles away. She's in New York City. What's going on? I'm like, I feel busted. But I am busted. There truly is a connection of sorts. What's your experience
We've had
like?
We did the Unsolved Mysteries. They featured us, but it's always me. I can always sense
This is
when
Larry
something's wrong
talking.
with him, Larry. So I can always tell when something's wrong with him. But there was one point where he had actually cut his finger at work, and me and my mom were heading to the hospital, and they told our mom he had hurt his arm, and I was like, it's not, it's his finger, and I know exactly where he cut it. And then when we got there, she saw it, and it freaked her out. She thought we were
That
like
was
aliens.
the first time, and then we went to New York, and I had like a really bad abscess on my tooth, and they had to pull it. But when this is the one they did on Unsolved Mysteries, because when they went out into the lobby, he was in so much pain on the side
I almost
where they were
passed
doing
out.
it. They gave him a Novocaine shot, and there were 2 Novocaine shots on the write-up of the bill, and that's the one Unsolved Mysteries featured like years ago. They
Wow.
featured that story.
Wow, that's a great story. I have it's kind of similar, and I think you guys will connect to it. It is 18 minutes past the hour. Harrison with you, your new best friend. You are listening to The Smart Show on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles, 98.7 FM in Santa Barbara, 93.7 in San Diego, 99.5 in Central California. We are going to be joining Progressive Radio Network in the next, I'd say couple of weeks, Mercy Malik.
That's
91
fantastic.
million people a month. I just thought you'd like to know.
Appropriately enough.
Yes, it's just not quite enough, but we're going to cope as best we can. And that means that your particular excellence in news gathering is going to be really having a seriously major impact, and I'm thrilled to be able to tell you that.
It is a pleasure to serve.
And we're going to start we're going to build this into the cabin of Pan Am inside of here, and she's going to wear a white hat and gloves. I can't wait.
And pass out
All the
peanuts.
gays laugh. The straight guy in the back's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And Garrett Ritt, who's sitting behind you, is from around your area in the
told
world.
us.
It turns out Garrett Ritt is from North Carolina.
Small world.
Yeah. Can you read his mind?
No.
Ah.
Although he is a cousin, somehow.
When I went to boarding school in Switzerland, and so my sister was in Connecticut at hers, having her that Connecticut experience. I was having more the neo-Nazi experience. And in Connecticut, they riding horses and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sledding and skiing. And I had a sledding accident. We were on the top of a mountain called the Zugerberg, pronounced Zuckerberg in Swiss German. And I'm going down 35 miles an hour. And these are not the American flexible flyer sleds that we grew up with, which have the metal runners in the bar in the front, and you push it to the left and the right, and the blades, they switch back and forth. These are Heidi sleds. They think it's fun. So it's just a wooden thing, and you throw your legs to the right to turn left, and and no brakes, nothing. And you're flying down this thing. And I'm like the Grinch who stole Christmas. And some Swiss, well, not quite, but almost. And some Swiss guy and his kid are crossing the path in front of me. I'm on. There's no guardrails. It's fucking Europe, right?
No brakes.
Straight down. And I'm going prone. And I'm having I'm 16. I'm immortal. You can't kill me. Just watch. So this guy and his kid cross right in front of me, and I have 2 choices. 1, hit them. Kill them and damage me and ruin the Heidi sled, which I would have had to pay for, or 2, wipe out and go sliding on my snow pants at a horrific mileage per hour, ripping through the trees, snapping branches, felling mighty oaks until I stopped by the grace of God. I took door number 2 and hit a tree on my kneecap, my patella. Threw it around to the back of my leg. Now, if you want to get an instant hard-on and throw up simultaneously, that's a shortcut. Make notes. You're going to want to do that someday. All right? My sister, my twister, in Connecticut, I go home for Christmas. Weeks later, I have an ace bandage and all that. And the Swiss, they hammer your kneecap back in place. It's a little different technology there. Then, so my sister and I both show up. She shows up from. She has no idea. We're not like on the phone every day. She shows up back in Chicago, Lake Forest, where I'm from. I show up there too for Christmas. She's got an ace bandage on the same knee. She couldn't play field hockey anymore because her knee wouldn't work. And once she saw my knee, she was fine.
Wow.
Like the pain went away. But she had a phantom pain for about 3 weeks. And that's a severe thing. You know, your tooth issue, your abscess, that's an abscess in the tooth, by the way, I want to point out, as opposed to just an abscess. No, these guys, they're habitual bathers, and they're lovely. You don't need to worry about that part. But had that abscess lasted a long time, it's quite likely that your twin, Gary and Larry Lane, who we're talking to right now on the Smart Show, that one of you guys would have felt the other one's pain after a while. I mean, this is really real stuff. And the studies, HBO did a documentary some time ago on this, and there are endless unanswered questions about it. So there's a real connection.
We're doing a whole, we actually, when we were on Rosie, because she had seen the documentary, she threw it to me really fast, and she said, you know, what's your next documentary? And we're going to do a documentary on gay identical twins and gay fraternal twins, because we know so many sets, and so she kind of threw it at me, and I was like, well, we're doing all the interviews. We've already started interviews, but that's going to be our next project. It's just
I love
on
it.
the dynamic of twins.
Well, if you
and
need help,
gay twins. We might have to
But
have
tell
you
your
for an
sister.
interview.
Oh, I think so.
Yes, that would be amazing.
After
Oh.
Rosie, a set of contacted us. It's 3 triplets. They live in like Temecula, but they're 3 identical triplets, and they're all lesbians. So
we're going to
tell your
them.
sister.
They're going to be the only triplets on the twin documentary.
a pod of lesbians.
A pod of
How do you like
lesbians.
that? We're going to pause for just a second here on the Smart Show on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles. When we return, we're going to be talking again to the Lane twins, lanetwins.com. We're going to hunker down and get into their documentary. Get into?
Get
My
into.
God, I was down in
Southern.
Florida
down
for
south.
10 days.
Might could.
I
We
might
go
could.
up
I
there.
might could learn English. Good heavens. We're going to continue attempting the Queen's English, even though there's no Queens in here that I can determine. Some kind of decent fornication. What am I trying to say?
Go to break.
Go to break.
I don't know.
And alrighty then. Well then, here it is.
90.7 KPFK, Los Angeles.
Smart Show. Harrison's Hellraisers.
Hi, I'm Clint Eastwood, and I'm a Harrison Hellraiser. You got that? Okay.
Harrison Hellraiser.
I see the gas prices rising. $5 gallons on the way. I see gas prices that are frightening. I see people who can't pay. So don't drive far tonight, 'cause the cost is out of sight. There's a gas price on the rise. I see SUVs and Hummers. I see their owners full of fear. They'll see an outrageous number when they get their gas bill for the year. So don't drive far tonight, 'cause the cost is out of sight.
Hi, this is Deepak Chopra, and I really love listening to Harrison.
Peering through the proctoscope of pop culture and politics. It's the Smart Show with Harrison.
Alrighty, it is 25 minutes past the hour. Harris with you, your new best friend. You are listening to The Smart Show on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles, 98.7 FM in Santa Barbara, 93.7 in San Diego, 99.5 in Central California. Joined by the great Mercy Malik, whom we're going to be hearing some news from in just about 4 minutes. News updates, events going on around the world news you will very likely not hear in any of the corporate news organs. And when I say organs, I'm talking about tiny microphallic organs when it comes to news dissemination. That's a comment about conversation during the break, which I will not share because we are a PG-rated program here, speaking to people over the age of 70 and nobody younger. That's why we stream online on their smartphones at goharrison.com, thesmartshow.org. And don't forget, we have weeknights, 6 to 7 p.m. roughly, 6 to 7 p.m., our Harrison's Hangout through the Google platform, where we talk to all people around the world. You can webcam in. As you know, we've featured everybody from presidential candidates to Star Trek characters. And now we have with us right here, right now, the Lane Twins, lanetwins.com. They are inseparable, except when they're with their partners, then they are separable, because it is considered good Christian taste not to foraminate or palliardize or affect intromission or rumbusticate o flagrante in public. There are laws, and we obey laws because we are twins.
And
by
we're
God.
Southern, and it's good manners.
That's right. And good manners, bless his heart, are everything. Bless his heart. I love that. That is the most universally brilliant statement it can mean. You.
And it's a backhanded bless.
What the
her
hell
heart.
is she wearing? Bless her heart.
So I have the trailer to your movie called From Hollywood to Dollywood, which has garnered all kinds of awards. Something that in your wildest fantasy you hoped, maybe it'll get some recognition. More than simple recognition, multiple recognition, stacked recognition. Let's take a look visually at the trailer right now. Of course, you can see it live at goharrison.com. This is the trailer for From Hollywood to Dollywood.
Celebrate the dreamer in you.
Starting here in Los Angeles, we've got 5 days to take all of 40 all the way to Dollywood, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
We have written a script for our hero, Dolly Parton.
I can't tell you where I'm going. I'm not sure of where I've been.
If you want to get that script in her hands, we know that's one place that we're going to be able to get to her.
Everything we've ever wanted is writing on this script.
Only these guys can pull it off, right? If anybody can do it, you can do it.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
No, listen, Beth, listen. We know we have... No.
Trust me, I've read a lot worse, and there's actually stuff I was laughing at.
We've got 3 chances in the park to meet her.
She speaks to your soul. She speaks about the human condition.
The first one is in the morning for that rose ceremony.
Somebody's just born to do good in the world, and I think that's Dolly Parton.
And then the second one is a 25th anniversary concert.
She's just like a big old drag queen.
And then the last chance is out on Main Street in Pigeon Forge for the parade.
She's the wizard. This is like the Wizard of Oz.
What are you doing up here, Dorothy? It's a twister.
Right now, all of this is underwater.
This is downtown Nashville.
30 a person. That must be crazy.
We ain't got that kind of budget. We're going to Dollywood.
Some book tells me that I'm supposed to hate my child. That's not a book that I want to read.
It would be horrible if it did cost us our family. But at this point in our life, we just got to have the strength and the courage to take that risk, and whatever happens, happens.
Jolene, please.
We want to get the script to Dolly because in our life, we've always kind of sought out her acceptance. I think she would embrace that one part of us in our life that our mom doesn't embrace.
Sweeter than candy and cakes and pies. A little spot of heaven.
Up on sugar.
I don't know what the sodomy laws are in Tennessee, but bless their hearts.
Well, Leslie Jordan, as only could say it like that and mean it. Harrison with you. You are watching and listening to The Smart Show on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles. How about a little live and, well, not exactly local, but definitely live news with Mercy Malik. When we continue, we're going to be talking more with the Lane Twins, talking about their movie From Hollywood to Dollywood, all the awards it's getting, and what it's actually about, and what they had to go through. We're also going to open up the phone lines and let you talk to a couple of twins. I have to say, I met you guys, I don't know, probably 3 years ago on a red guide somewhere, right? And I love your personalities. You're like such nice guys. I think twins are naturally like that and fun and interesting.
Into us.
Yeah, well, sure, it's beaten into you. But I think also we have to be with each other so much that we have to learn how to make nice in the sandbox. So you guys are really a treat to have around. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. Let's hear a little news from Mercy Malik.
Harrison. News update.
Go Harrison News Time is 31 minutes past the hour, and I'm Mercy Malik with your reality check. The hacker group Anonymous released a video last Friday threatening to begin a, quote, reign of terror, end quote, against Israel in the latest round of cyber warfare between pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli hackers. The video, posted on YouTube, blamed Israel for committing, quote, crimes against humanity, end quote, and criticized Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. The clip's computer-generated narrator says, quote, through the use of media deception and political bribery, you have amassed the sympathies of many, but in fact, your only goal is to better the lives of a select few while carelessly trampling the liberties of the masses, end quote. The video also makes reference to a possible Israeli strike on Iran, claiming Israel has, quote, taken steps to ensure a nuclear holocaust. It's 32 minutes past the hour. The New York Times reports today that Admiral William McRaven, head of U.S. Special Operations Command, is seeking authority to deploy his troops without Pentagon oversight. Historically, the deployment of U.S. forces overseas began with a request from a global commander that was processed through the military's joint staff and placed before the Defense Secretary for approval. McRaven's plan would give him the power to position his forces in Asia, Africa, and Latin America without going through traditional command channels. President Obama and his Pentagon's leadership have increasingly made special operations forces their military tool of choice. Special ops deployments involve fewer troops, and their secretive status shields them from public scrutiny. The Special Operations Command numbers 66,000, including civilians, double what it was in 2001. During that time, its budget has multiplied 2.5 times to $10.5 billion. It's 33 minutes past the hour. And finally, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission voted last week to extend licenses to build 2 new nuclear reactors at the Vogtle Nuclear Power Plant in Georgia, the first such licenses granted since the 3 Mile Island meltdown in 1979. Environmental groups had asked the NRC to delay its decision until they could file a challenge in federal court, but no such courtesy was extended. The Obama administration has offered controversial plant operator Southern and its partners $8.3 billion in federal loan guarantees as an incentive to build the reactors. The license extension comes less than a year after the Fukushima disaster and simultaneous with new troubles at the Japanese plant. Allison Fisher of the consumer advocacy group Public Citizen said, quote, it is inexplicable that we've chosen to expand the use of a failed and dangerous technology, end quote. Fisher notes that the U.S. is approving new reactors before safety regulations recommended by a task force established after the Fukushima meltdown have been implemented. Southern, the operator of the plant in question, also runs all 3 of the most highly polluting power plants in the United States. Well, doesn't that just inspire a lot of confidence? Right. For Go Harrison on KPFK 90.7 Los Angeles, 98.7 Santa Barbara, 93.7 San Diego, and 99.5 Ridgecrest, China Lake, I'm Mercy Malik. You can be my friend on Facebook and send me news tips for your reality check.
News update. Harrison. Think Green.
Harrison with you. The military is experimenting with natural ways to clean up bomb sites. The groundwater underneath one airbase contains the carcinogen trichloroethylene, or TCE. Turns out simple iron can neutralize these chemicals when they're in the water. So the Air Force is now grinding piles of their old iron-cased dummy bombs into small chips to bury in the groundwater, drilling 56 feet under the earth, then filling the holes with the bomb shrapnel. A chemical reaction will then strip the TCE from underground water. That's the theory anyway. From the Greeniverse.
Think Green with Harrison at thinkgreenradio.com.
Think Green listeners get unlimited blockbuster movie streaming, plus a free Dish Network HD DVR. You get unlimited streaming movies and all your favorite shows at home for around $35. Plus, I'll throw in 30 additional premium movie channels at launch. Go to goharrison.com or call 855-WANT-GREEN-TV. 855-WANT-GREEN-TV.
Live from Marilyn Monroe's former apartment in West Hollywood, Yo, yo, yo. Careful, if you have freaking nut jobs out there, they'll look up where she used to live and come try to get you.
Thanks. Keep going, please.
Live from Marilyn Monroe's former apartment in West Hollywood, this is The Smart Show.
It is 36 minutes past the hour. Harrison with you, your new best friend. You are listening to The Smart Show. We are coming to you live from Marilyn Monroe's former apartment. I have with me the Lane twins, Gary and Larry Lane, who are hearing a nice little 1-second delay. Then that's the nature of this kind of broadcasting when you do a remote. It's a satellite delay, basically. We are in Marilyn Monroe's apartment. You're probably wondering, what the hell are we doing in here? I'm used to going to radio stations. That's why we're here. She lived here and engaged in, well, I don't know, but I can
it's
only...
It's all in those files.
It's
that are
all
still
in those... And she used to boink JFK right up on the corner, up the street. And I'm not going to give the address here, but there's a very old building, the one that looks like a castle. And JFK kept an apartment in there. And his black car would pull in with the underground parking, and she would skitter up the sidewalk, clippity-clopping in her high heels, go in there and come back all shredded and, you know, hauling a torn genital back down the sidewalk, you know, for her healing expedition. And, and then in the morning... That is the morning now. But in the afternoon, would trundle down to the corner, turn left to go to the Lee Strasberg Theater, where she took her acting lessons. So it was a local call. So we honor her.
This is like her comeback. It's like with Smash and with my week with Marilyn. She's kind of everywhere for Marilyn. Now.
She's ubiquitous, whatever that means.
She's like
We're talking to the Lane twins. They're wonderful twins. I, being a twin myself, have a particular connection to their unfortunate victim plight of being twins, but I vote yes. I wouldn't have it any other way. Of course, I don't know any other way.
That's true.
Right.
It's hard to be lonely because there's two of you.
Are y'all the only two? We have an older brother. Were you the only?
We're it. In fact, both of us are enchanted, which is the universe's gift to Republican parents. Not one, but two gay children. Period. Wow. That's right.
Wow. 100%.
Right, right. And I have given them a grandchild. If you look over on the couch, you see little Wiley.
Oh, actually.
The 7-pound reindeer chihuahua.
Here we go.
Oh, if you look in Mercy's hands.
I'm Paris Hiltoning it today.
My son, their grandson. Let's talk a little bit about Dolly. Here you had this this idea. We've all known Dolly Parton. You guys have a particular connection because you're Southerners, as is Garrett Ritt. You say Dolly Barton to him, Dolly Parton. He'll say
Bolly
who?
Darton.
Bolly Darton. and it has a kind of a different meaning, I think, in many ways. A different connection than somebody who simply appreciates the music. What is that connection for you guys?
Well, see, I think personally with us, because we grew up in the South and our parents loved her, they always played her music, Kenny Rogers. But whenever we would see her on interviews and things when we were little, she would always get asked about her gay fan base, and she would always say, you know, I love everybody for who they are. I don't believe anybody should be judged. And so the things that she would say always resonated. So as we grew up, we kind of, knowing that we kind of built up a connection, and like that's how we kind of connected with her on every level.
We always say Dolly is the country Cher in the country. She's like the equivalent of Cher. So.
Wow, and that's true, you know. And it's interesting because when you look at any of the interviews that she's done, classic ones that go back 15, 20 years, it's the same person. She, I think, was open-minded before that was allowed, and particularly in a place that isn't known for its open-mindedness. All we have to do is look at Newt Gingrich and see really a gargantuan flesh pudding full of shame and hostility.
Jesse Helms over North Carolina for 40 years.
That's right.
Yep.
Jesse Helms.
Yeah.
2 words, Jesse Helms.
Jesse Helms.
Can you make like an evil over that?
How about this?
That was good.
Right? Does that work? I mean, there is the classic angry white man, right? So somebody like her, and I think this is the nature of art, and I think you guys can speak to this so well. The nature of art is using a delivery system, much as the cigarette is the delivery system for nicotine. Let's face it, right? But art is the delivery system for opening somebody's mind. You can lecture to them as a math formula, even though you're good at math, Larry Lane. I'm not. I'm an English major. 2 + 6. Hold on, let me get my hands out. Right? But art is the delivery system for information, for alternative information. Let's put it that way. And so Dolly Parton is an ambassador in many ways. And it can't have been easy to make this documentary, or it would have been made forever ago, right?
Mm-hmm. And see, even with the documentary, after we made the documentary and got it to her, she really showed her character because she saw what the subject matter was. It was me and my brother going to give her a script that we wrote for her, but we also told our personal story about growing up gay in North Carolina and how she impacted us. So she could have easily shied away from the subject matter of the documentary, but she still gave us 15 songs for free. She didn't charge us anything for any of the songs in the documentary, and she allowed us to use her image on the poster. So she's kind of been with us every step of the way, which has been amazing.
Behind us, so.
Let me ask you guys a biological question. Not that you have the answer, but you have the instinct. You are going to be making a documentary soon on the nature of twins. Mm-hmm. You've got the trifecta of lesbians. You've got all these other people. I would love
boy-girl twins. I would
yeah,
love to interview
right.
you
Fraternals.
guys. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nature versus nurture. Okay. Now, I've assaulted Garrett many times about this question because it's such a no-brainer, and he always answers the same way because it's true. You know, if it's a choice, that would mean that Garrett wakes up in the morning and goes, God damn it, I'm going to like girls today.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, I'm going to. You know, how often do you think about? I never did. Never thought about. So it blows that apart. So having twin gay folks, were you always that way? Or did one influence the other? This is for our straight listeners who might be a little confused.
Okay.
And the only reason you're confused is because you're confused. So let's help them.
We were always that way, and honestly, you know, I realized, you know, from the preacher, we went to church 3 times a week, you're going to burn in hell, you know, you felt like something was wrong with you. So the one that I was the closest to, I was more guarded around him than anybody else, because I was scared if he found out, he would turn his back on me. So we really didn't find out about each other till we were 16, because we kept it so hidden, and then we were pissed because we could have been going through it together through high school and all that stuff.
And then we told our parents at 25, and so, you know, that was like years later, but, you know, we kind of were on, once we told each other, then it was like we had a support system.
We were there for each other.
And we will say for all your straight listeners, it does get better. I'd like to give that message to them.
It does. It does. And Mercy has an experience, too. I don't mean that kind of experience, but I mean, if
I have all sorts of experiences.
What
What specifically? No, actually, no. Not that I don't. I have not had the pleasure of that kind of experience. But that right.
But you were raised by gay men in some way, right? In a
I was
tangential way?
around. Well, my parents were in the arts, so I was around. I grew up quite thoroughly surrounded by. Oh, sorry. I grew up quite thoroughly surrounded by people of all sorts and stripes, and it was never. There was never any sort of question of gay men being anything out of the ordinary. However, my mother had quite a thing against lesbianism. That was an abomination. It was completely understandable why men would want to indulge in penis, but women shunning it was an absolute abomination. Yeah. And it's interesting that you said about waking up in the morning and trying to decide, well, what am I going to be today? Because I was told many times growing up that because I enjoyed sports and wanted to have a job, that I was a lesbian. And I just assumed that, I guess I'm a lesbian. And as I came into puberty, it became immediately and startlingly clear that no, in fact, that was not the case. But I was waiting. I was like, okay, well, when am I going to like vagina? Where's that? And it just never... Sadly, never,
well, Garrett likes
came around.
Vagina.
Yeah.
We all came from one.
Yes, we did.
That's right.
We all did.
We've all been in a vagina.
You know, I wonder.
I love that. I got you both to blush. We have, though. It's true. Just once.
We're talking to Gary and Larry Lane. No coincidence that their names rhyme, I'm sure. There was a moment of thought between your parents.
Southern. They love to rhyme them. And even we used to have 7th grade through 12th grade in high school. It was all in one school. We had 4 different sets of Gary and Larry twins in that school at one time.
From 7th to 12th grade, 4 sets of Gary and Larry's.
You know, the studies recently to figure out why there are more twins than ever. There are more twins being generated now, and a lot of it has to do with hormones and
artificial
food supply.
Artificial insemination,
yeah, a lot of stuff like that. Whereas, you know, in our day, it was just an aberration. You know, the old man was wound up that night and fired out a lot of wigglies, and the old lady's egg factory was, you know, perfectly ripe. But now it's a chemical
now
reaction.
Anyone on the corner can get twins.
Any old common person.
Or 8 of them if you want.
Yeah, right, 8 of them.
Octomom.
What is the most frequent question that people ask you guys?
Oh my Lord! They always. What are the ones that they'll?
Do you know what
they say? Are you twins? Which is the craziest one of all.
Do you know what he's thinking? That's a big one. They always say that one.
Do you feel his pain? And then they'll slap him.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding.
You got me.
I'm sure
Are
there's.
you twins? Which
yeah.
I think is the most ridiculous
I
one.
know.
I think that's
Are you
just a lead
twins?
in to talk.
And you go, no, and then do you like introduce each
Our
other?
dad used to say, no, we adopted this one, and this one's 2 years older than that one, and the people would just sit there and just look confused,
and believe it.
like they were trying to process it.
Yeah, and they were trying to process
They were
it.
trying to.
Right. Now, I imagine there's also the naughty question that probably gay guys ask you.
Yes, there's 3.
3 naughty
do you
questions.
sleep with each other?
Are you
do you do 3 ways?
Are
and
you
are you
identical everywhere?
That's the 3 we always get.
And how do you answer that?
You know, go.
There's
No, and 1 freckle.
No, and 1 freckle.
Nice.
So let's wrap this up talking about Dolly for just a second, because that is actually why you've graced us here. And I want to honor that because we're trying to make your film. We want to put every butt we can in a movie theater seat.
Thank you.
That is the plot of the play here. So let's acknowledge that. Tell us who, what, where, when, how. How do we participate?
We actually we have Hollywood to Dollywood.com. We have all the film festivals up there. But we actually, just where we're at right now, we've played in about 40. We've got about 55 that we're slated to play in overall. And we're clear from July of 2011 until July 2012 to play the film festival circuit. So we have a lot coming up, too, in Australia. There's lots of festivals. And like just on February 18th, we have 3 in one day. We call it Hollywood to Dollywood across America because we play in Macon, Georgia, Tucson, Arizona, and Columbus, Indiana, all at literally the same time at 8 o'clock. So we've got a lot that are overlapping, but we've won 17 Best Documentary Awards. And one thing about the movie, we're playing more in straight film festivals than we are in the gay-themed film festivals, which is important because they don't get that message a lot. And those are the festivals where we're winning the best of the festival and all the awards. So, you know, it's a good thing for us. And we have a deal with Dolly right now and Dolly Records where we can lock in the music for the distribution level, and then we can actually get it out on DVD and everything. So
If we get to that next level, we'll come back and give your listeners copies of it.
Oh,
we'll
that would
come
be
back in
great.
3 weeks when you pick up the 90 million.
Yeah.
That would be just
Exactly.
great. I'm not sure. I just got a text. Audio died. I don't know. I think it looks good here. Hopefully it's good. Harris with you. You are listening to The Smart Show on KPFK 90.7 FM in Los Angeles, 98.7 FM in Santa Barbara, 93.7 in San Diego, 99.5 in Central California, talking to the infamous Lane twins, lanetwins.com, Gary and Larry Lane, who are some of the nicest guys I've ever met. And I've met some nice guys.
I concur.
And you guys are right at the top of the list.
Oh,
That's credit to our parents.
Yeah, right at the top of the list. And good parenting is a whole lot of it, much as my impeccably well-behaved reindeer chihuahua, weighing in at 7 pounds at 7 years old, fully congruent with his canine nature. It's due to my good parenting. It has nothing to do with his genetics or the amount of food I feed him or the sleeping pills.
And being the only grandchild, he gets spoiled.
That's right. He does get spoiled. And I'm so glad that you visited with us today. I'm so glad that you talked about kind of the nature of twinness, because a lot of people don't know. They hear about it, they see it, they have these basic questions, and you've answered them so easily and comfortably. So I think we are all on the same page here. And I love the fact that you've done this Dolly movie. It must be a thrill a minute watching this thing go up, up, up. That was not what you expected, was it?
No, not at all. It
And
actually.
even Leslie, we met Leslie Jordan, and we told him the idea,
Sure.
and we showed it to him after we got back. He saw the movie, and he cried. He loved it, and he goes, I swear, when I first met y'all, and y'all told me the idea, and y'all set off, and I saw you off on the journey, I said, there is no way in hell these two will ever get anywhere near Dolly Parton. He didn't think we were even going to get to her, so he was presently
But that was
surprised.
just the whole thing, the floods of Nashville, all that as it happened, you know, we just kind of took it as it went. But you're right, I think people are embracing the message because we were very open in the movie and didn't hold anything back. And I think that's why it's resonating. And it kind of shows Dolly in a different light and how she does love everyone and how she is kind of like the ambassador out there. And she's always stuck by her gay fans. She's never turned her back on them.
And thank you guys finally for being out. And why that's relevant is they're without examples. And there was, did you guys ever see a show, maybe on TV Land or something called Hogan's Heroes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you remember the character of LeBeau, the French guy?
I think so.
Yeah, Louis LeBeau wore a little French chapeau.
He charmed the dogs.
Yes, that's right.
I know everything about Hogan's Heroes.
Yes.
We've talked about this before, yes.
And he was Jewish. He may be dead now, but I don't know. And about 15 years ago, there is a Holocaust museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. There's the one in D.C. and the one in St. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of retirees there. And he was speaking there. And I thought, wow, Hogan's, LeBeau, right? So I go watch the guy. And he said, would everybody who is in a concentration camp please stand? And about 3 people stood up, and they had the tattoos on their arms, and they were like really old ladies.
Wow.
And he said, I was at Auschwitz. And he said, when I was 15, the Germans came in down the Champs-Élysées in tanks, grabbed me and my family, took us to Auschwitz, and then systematically over 5 years killed each of my family members in front of me in order to demoralize me. And the kid was 15. Wow. And during liberation, he got out. And he said he would never tell another person in his life that he was Jewish because he figured it would happen again. And here's the relevant point to being gay. He said now he's 80 years old or something.
He's 85 and still alive.
Is he?
I just looked it up.
Oh, he's 85 and still alive.
Wow.
And he said, unless I talk about the fact I was there are no witnesses that this really happened.
Yeah.
And that I can't keep a culture alive or help strengthen the human race unless I'm a witness for something that happened and actually, grow a set of nuts and stand up. So that's why he outed himself at 70 years old, I suppose, when it was I saw him, or 70-something years old. He outed himself as being Jewish, which wouldn't be a big deal, except that it is a big deal. And people might not get that when you come out as being gay, it is a big fucking deal.
Big deal.
It is a big deal because you can go back to North Carolina or Florida, where I was, the electric chair state. You're not going to get a parade of roses. You might get a
Anywhere
lead
you can
pipe.
have a shotgun on the gun rack in the back of your window.
It's just as life risking to make that statement. So there's an incredible heroism with you guys, a huge bravery, a wonderful American spirit of congruity. So I just want to acknowledge that because it is not for sissies. Coming out
and
is
we would
not
like
for
to
sissies.
welcome Matt Bomber to the family.
For those who don't know who Matt Bomber is,
He's on the show White Collar on USA, but he
Thanked
he's
his
a good-looking
partner.
man. Google him, Matt Bomber.
And
he
he
just
thanked his
came out
partner.
today. He thanked his partner and his family today when he
Yeah.
won an award this weekend. So it's kind of going all over everywhere.
Wow.
It's the first thing I've seen pop up since Whitney to kind of get out there more than what happened with her. So it's
yeah,
kinda getting
and
out there.
great that he comes out. Now, imagine what would happen if Anderson Cooper came out.
What are you saying, Harrison?
Well, the reason I say that, and we'll wrap this up, but the reason I say it is really obvious.
Yes.
If your brand on CNN is you're keeping them honest, but you yourself are so unbelievably full of shit, right, that your whole thing is about being honest, but you yourself are absolutely lying, are absolutely dishonest and not transparent. That's interesting. And I think that's worth looking at. And not that I would out him. I'm not Michelangelo Signorelli, right, who gets off on that stuff. Don't hurt others, obviously. But I just think as gay men, if we're in profound positions of power,
And
where we can
ladies.
shift millions of people, I think we have a special obligation in many ways because we are harboring something that's indeed different and life-threatening in many ways. And so I just want to say thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
another thing Middle America doesn't know is there's a lot of people in Hollywood that could come out, but because of things like ratings and box office sales, they don't. But there's a lot of people that could come out and really put a face on it even more.
But when we're at certain festivals, like the parents will come up with their 15 or 16-year-old kid, and they'll say, "This is my son Mark. He just came out to me that he was gay because of your movie." So we know we're making a difference, and we know we did the right thing, even though it was a hard story to tell. So.
Right. And don't you find that when you do come out, you're much more powerful?
Mm-hmm.
When I was not out to my stepfather after a number of years, and my sister was out to him because she's a girl, different for a straight guy. Oh, lesbians, cool.
Two girls,
hot. Right. And she's a girl. She wasn't like, trying to mow his lawn. That might not be the same hot for him. But she's a girl, and she had a girlfriend. And who doesn't want to have them over for dinner? And when I finally came out to him, which was on his birthday, what better gift as we're going to Radio Shack than me to throw that at him while he's driving? The Lexus careened deliciously. No, he was great with it. But the fact is, we suddenly had a relationship because when you're in the closet, your life is 10%. How is work? Fine.
Yep.
How are your friends? I don't have any because you
guarded.
got to talk about them. You have no range of motion. You have such a small, pitiful, lonely life. That's why straight people think it's so fucking lonely because nothing is happening. You come out, suddenly you're a living, breathing, dynamic human being, right? And able to contribute in ways that you can.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We've been talking to the Lane Twins. It's called lanetwins.com. That's the website, lanetwins.com. There you could see about all the different enterprises they've done, the various TV shows they've won at the network level, slurping not donkey semen, but I think other things, right?
On Fear Factor, yeah, we ate like ours was easier. It was the old Fear Factor. It was like a 100-year-old Chinese egg
and
we
cow's brains
and cow's brains, things like that. But
no
we won
big deal.
50,000. Then we won 50,000 last year on Wipeout, and that money helped us pay for the documentary to get everything, the color correction.
Winter Wipeout, the ABC.
And I mean, we got our ass kicked on that show. That was a hard show.
I would sue the network too for the cow brains. That they could have exposed you to bovine spongiform and
I would rather get
randomly out
beaten the crap out of me
mooing,
than
and I've been
eat
trying to
cow
like lock
what that is. I heard that too. I just thought I was lactating, but it must have been something different. Thank you guys. The movie is called From Hollywood to Dollywood. It stars the Lane Twins, lanetwins.com. They're right here, right now. You can always shoot us an email anytime through goharrison.com, goharrison.com, and we will keep connected when you get the DVD rights. Looking very much forward to having you back on. And also, we're going to do a panel down the road with probably with Chad Allen, maybe Jason Stewart, who you just can't push him away.
We've met Jason.
Yeah, sure you have. And I mean, what, 80 emails in the last week about doing this panel? But we're working on it.
Hello, Jason.
And we're going to talk about out in Hollywood.
Okay.
As the topic and really kind of get into, and you had mentioned, and we won't get into it, but you had mentioned the box office and all that, and I think that's nonsense, and I think it's been proved as nonsense, but that's still the thinking. So we're going to get into it. Has it ever really affected you? And I would love to have you guys on board for this, and there'll be, Leslie will be here, I'm sure, and everybody else We'll have a big old yuck fest. It'll be a good time.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. LaneTwins.com. Harrison with you as we wrap it up at 1 minute till 4 p.m. You can always catch us anytime at goharrison.com. We will see you next Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget you can join us on our Harrison's Hangout weeknights starting at 6 o'clock, harrisonshangout.com. Goharrison.com. Have a great week. You've taken the elevator from the basement up to lingerie. You're now at mezzanine level with this thing. So I have Gary Lane on my right, and I have Larry Lane on my left.
Yes.
So that would be radio stage right. Okay.
Radio stage right.
So let's hear the difference of your voices. So Larry, let's hear your voice.
I was going to tell you about the weather. It's beautiful, 80 degrees. Everybody can see it.
Here in Los Angeles. We're also streaming live video at goharrison.com, goharrison.com, where you can see Larry and Gary. They're double shots because I couldn't find a single shot of you guys anywhere to isolate you. So it's just two tandem shots, but different poses. So Larry is on the left, Gary is on the right, and then I inverted the pictures, so Larry was always on the left, and Gary is always, so L for Larry, R for Gary.
Our mom did that in all of our baby pictures. She always put Larry on the left.
So she could keep us apart because we look so much alike.
Right, well, because you're identical twins.
That's true, yeah.
Now, I think the first question, before we get into Dolly Parton, so to speak, as a twin, now, my twister, twin sister, a fraternal twin, and in this country people say, oh, do you look alike? I know. You go to Europe, they get it. Here, you know, remember, the Earth is maybe not warming up, and maybe it's flat, and Jesus, and, you know. So we really have to start at kindergarten level. But as twins, it really is a kind of inseparability. Whether you like it or not, you not only spent 9 months in your mother's womb sharing all the juice and liquids and hormones and all the Disney magic that goes on in there, and then you come out and you have a twin stroller. You can't even take a whiz alone. You bathe together. Not that you ask. Decent argument and get away with it, which Newt Gingrich, by the way, is a real master at that. He studied Socrates. He sure did.
Most Republicans are.
Most Republicans are very good at that. So I want to introduce two guys who have done the unimaginable, and I think the impossible, heretofore impossible, which was we take somebody like, and I'm just going to throw out a name like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton, right?
Good choice.
We've all grown up with Dolly Parton. We've heard her music endlessly. She's got some of the finest sacks of adipose tissue that Earth has ever known. Great mammalian madness hurling off her chest. And also her hairdos are exquisite. This woman, you guys, Gary Lane, Larry Lane, two twins, twothers, I suppose that is. Twothers, two twothers, twin brothers, and I have a twister myself. You guys set out to go from Hollywood to Dollywood. Now, this has never been done before, and it was a monumental Sisyphean uphill boulder push because people were like, huh? Or, what do you mean you want to do that? But you guys actually achieved this, and your documentary is coming out. And I want to note here, a story on Yahoo News says that Dolly's turning 66.
Yes.
She's slowly teetering into a gentle geezerdom. Right? She's still got about 20 more years.
Down. She's the busiest woman we know.
That's right.
She's busy.
And nor by
That's right.
appearance either.
And the awards and film festivals that you're filmed from Hollywood to Dollywood, I mean, this thing is garnered all kinds of fleur-de-lis and, I mean, all the different wonderful things. So you guys, who are they?
No, they're not. No one is. No one at all.
Well, there you go.
That's who. No one. No one cares that the very first democratically elected leader of a nation was ousted at gunpoint. I think that's news, but I might just be crazy.
Well, democracy is only practiced if there are things like platinum, gold, or uranium under the feet, under the soil of that democracy.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not really a democracy.
Diamonds might fit in there, too.
Diamonds might fit in there, yes.
Anything you can dig for and extract and exploit.
That's right. I mean, really, when you think about this country, it really is all about, in the Occupy movement, all the things going on right now, is you've got a country where you have a warrior class of people, and those would be people of color that live in urban areas, and they go out and kill the other residents of the planet in order to relieve them of the burden of things like their oil and gold that might be under their feet. And in return, we, the citizenry, get things like a 401k or something. We get some kind of miniature social safety net. But now the 1%, as we like to call it, are relieving us of the burden of that little bit of issue of knowing what the fuck's going to happen to you after.
We're online today.
I guess we can. It's going to happen to you. Isn't it exciting and fun?
Oh, hell yeah.
After the age of, say, 80, when you wither and perish with no safety net. But, so that's kind of the arrangement. That's all going away. Countries like Greece that gave us, Plato and his wonderful dialogues, how to pick up a 16-year-old boy on any street corner. Socrates, how to form a sport. But this was my situation until I was about 23.
You get your meals together.
Yeah.
You have no control.
Right. And then, then I started bathing her. But that's a different thing altogether. I stopped.
That's another show.
That's another show altogether. But there's probably not, well, how do I put it this way? Let's just talk about dating, because I think that's the first thing everyone wants to know. How do you go on a date? As though you have no idea, right?
Well, it used to be a lot more difficult. We would always have issues with the person we were dating where they would always feel left out or feel like I did more with the twin. And now that I've gotten older, I've learned how to balance it and definitely have my time with my partner, Mike. And we've been 5 years now. But it used to affect early on in dating before I knew how to balance it. Because it is hard when you've got the twin and you just have a built-in unit there that other people that don't have a twin,
they don't understand it.
Yeah, lanetwins.com is your website, by the way, where we can go and check
That's
you guys out.
the sad thing is because you never get called by your first name. We're the Lane Twins, so and we even build into it because our Twitter is the Lane Twins. Everything's the Lane Twins, so that's how you find us.
You're not victims.
No, you're not victims, but you play into that mentality of being the twins.
He's definitely not a victim because even in math, all his algebra exams, I went to school as him and passed him for the year. So I took all his tests in school.
That's the classic Hollywood part, right? Is that we all assume that you guys do the switcheroo, and your partner would know when it's him. When it's your partner Gary would know if Larry popped in to hang out with your partner.
Yeah, but there has been a couple of times where he would come around the corner.
99.5 in Central California. Welcome and happy Monday to you. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun today. Why? Why? That's the big question. Well, because a couple of my people are here, and that probably has several meanings to it. But one is, as you know, and I've talked about it fairly often here on the Smart Show, I have a twister. I have a twister.
Yes.
A twin sister. That's right, my twister, who is a lipstick lesbian. Well, more of a chapstick lesbian, really, but somewhere in between.
Splitting the difference.
Splitting the difference, right? Splitting a zygote. Taking a fallopian tube and wringing it out so that two polyzygotal eggs popped out and percolated in my former mother's womb. Anyway, I am here alive and well, as is she. I am also joined by two twins of the identical variety, that meaning that they shared the same bag of jelly for 9 months, but they actually got the same DNA, although their personalities might be mildly different. We're going to get into what does it mean to be a twin, also open up the phones, take your calls. If you're a twin or you've always wanted to know what makes all of us tick, or tick-tock, or tick-tick, as the case might be, you can certainly give us a call at your usual Harrison hotlines at 310-737-TALK, 310-737-TALK. Mercy Malik joining me. Thank you for the excellent, as always, exquisite newscast, bringing us information that wouldn't ordinarily be available to us through normal commercial media outlets. As you notice on our commercial feed here, we're looking at all the different networks. Not one of your stories will be on there in the next 48
No one's talking about the Maldives.